are prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lions. I've been feeling down, but I've been looking up, afraid to fall. God, I've been so down, can you pick me up? Don't let me fall. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees and I may fall as I'm so close to the end.
How are we all, and welcome back to Turf Moor House TV. I am going to try and be as chirpy as I can, but I do have the dreaded food poisoning, just to put it out there. So if you do see me going, ugh, it's because I'm trying to hold the stomach pain back while still delivering some top quality content for you guys. So thank you for obviously tuning in and watching us. We do have another match preview. They are coming thick and fast. That's the thing with the Championship. Saturday, Tuesday, we are starting to get into the motion of it. So obviously we played Hull on Tuesday night, 1-1 draw. We should have beat them, to be honest with you. They celebrated it like they'd won the league at the full-time whistle. So obviously a nice Lancashire derby, our first Lancashire derby as well. Although I'd say both teams kind of like each other in a sense, especially when they've both had their moments of greatness as well. They've both rooted for each other. However, if you are new around here, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell if you want to be notified of any future videos. And if you are listening on podcast platforms as well, thank you very much for everyone who's been listening in to the podcasts. This will obviously be available as a podcast for you to listen to not long after we have done. But yeah, thank you very much for your support. You can find us on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, there's a few others. I'll tell you what, here's a little video to show you where you can find us. So I am joined by YouTube royalty in the house.
Wow,
I have got Lee Charles.
Certainly are. I don't know if I mean with royalty. This is all very class, isn't it? It's not like the intro. I enjoyed that. Your socials. I'm gonna have to nick some of this off you, Dan. It's just too good. It's too professional. It's superb. It's looking really good, and I'm glad to see your channel's growing as well. I'm glad to see in the comments the Burnley fans are starting to appreciate what you do. So looking good to me, sir.
No, thank you very much indeed. Obviously, you're a Blackpool supporter through and through, born and bred.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, hope you're well.
All my life, is that what you're trying to?
Yeah.
I used to say, to people that my dad made me a seasider to ruin my life. And it did feel like that at many times, but my dad died just a year after the Premier League, so we actually got to do, we got to do it all together. It was like a almost 40 years, dad and son sort of journey, and really, if I'm looking back on it, it was the greatest journey of my life, if if that makes sense. And even though we suffered a lot of pain throughout the years, and we were non-league, lower league for a long time, but before we actually made it back into the second division, my dad would always say, we fell out of the second division, and everybody just thought Blackpool would get, back in, straight away. And, it took us 30 years to get back in. It was unbelievable. And so it's been a long journey, but it all kind of made sense in the end. You know what I mean? We did it together. and it was just fantastic that we did. And I'm so glad he got to see the Premier League, and went to Wembley. In fact, Wembley at Cardiff was the start of his stomach cancer. That was he was starting to have a bit of a problem there, and that was when it kind of started. So he just lived long enough to see it and died in October after. But I'll never forget him, and it's never quite the same without him. But and that's how it is with your dad. Your dads take us to these things, and they nail our colours to the mast, and there's no getting out of it. What
no,
I mean?
that's it. You're hooked. You're hooked once you're in. That's it.
They hook you in, they drag you along. Even though I used to go and I used to run up and down the blooming steps, just going for the sweets really. And we used to go in the old South Paddock back then, and just go. Just to mess around, but I got into it, as I got into senior school, and then I started going, properly. Really, my dad got me my first half a season ticket for Christmas when I was 17, and been going out ever since with him. So,
happy days. Obviously, as you say there, you are a Blackpool supporter.
Yes. God
obviously.
Damn it.
Obviously on the YouTube scene as well. Let people know, obviously, where they can find you and your stuff as well.
Yeah, well, I'm LeeCharlesTV. If you search, it's actually LeeCharlesTV, and I've actually added Blackpool fan channel to it. It's not Blackpool FC fan channel; it's just Blackpool fan channel for the simple reason that I like to Blackpool as well. I love my hometown. If we can do anything on Blackpool as well, but mainly we're Blackpool Football Club. So we're LeeCharlesTV on YouTube, and we're also at LeeCharlesTV, which is very original, on Twitter, and I am on Instagram, but I'm now at LeeCharlesTV too, for the simple reason that somebody, when we're going to watch Barnsley, somebody hacked into my account, don't know who, sent a load of massive messages out to everybody to win a competition. I don't know, some fake bullshit, and they blocked my channel. And I can't get it back. I've tried everything. I can't get it back. They just won't give me back. So I've had to do a LeeCharlesTV, which is 2, which has only got 91. I had like 2,500, but they've all gone. So that was a bit annoying.
Yeah,
so, really, really frustrating. Yeah. So that's where you find us anyway.
Hopefully people will go and check out the links as well. I will add the Instagram and Twitter link in the description later. At the moment, there is just the YouTube link in there. So please do go show your support to Lee in the in the description of this video. Just take a few comments then before we get into the football side of things. Henry's in and says, "Hey up Dan, hope you're well." Hi to Kate as well, hope you're well too. I'm sure she is. She's upstairs sorting the kids out, so she's probably stressed.
It's living with you, mate. It's living with you.
Yeah, it is enough to tear your hair out. Big up Dan and Lee, you bloody pair of legends, from Luke.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you. Do appreciate it.
Dan Mack says Blackpool lost 2-1-1, so 2-0 Burnley, mate. Fair enough. Henry says, I love your content, Dan. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. My son's in the chat. He says, how were Burnley? On Tuesday, they weren't too bad, mate. They weren't too bad. They actually played pretty well. As I said, I'm really, really proud of my son. He's literally just signed professional terms as a 10-year-old for Accrington Stanley.
Ooh.
So obviously,
who are they?
Exactly. But yeah, I'm obviously super duper proud of him and can't wait to obviously share the moment when they go on, hopefully sign the contract and stuff. Stand beside him with my hand on his shoulder, crippling his shoulder with that dad death grip.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. Yeah.
Carl says, hi Dan, hope you're all good apart from the belly still trying to get. Oh, that belly's been there for ages. It's the pain in it that's that started.
It doesn't sound good.
It doesn't at all. Trying to get over our last result, bring on Blackpool. Yeah, I agree. Let's have a look at a few more. Lewis says, keep it up, Dad. Thank you very much, mate. Really do appreciate it. Mark says, evening both, legends, big up.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
For some reason, I don't know why it's going so slow as this laptop. But I saw the highlights. Officials were with Boris on holiday, I think. Yeah. The officiating in a lot of the championship games, I've started to realise, wow, I was all celebrating no VAR and things like that, and now I'm just a bit like, whoa, the standard of
Yes,
officiating is
the
absolutely
referees.
shocking.
Shit.
Yeah, beyond belief.
Welcome to the championships. Yeah. So you got it's a double-edged it's a double-edged coin, really, isn't it? Because VAR, it's not been popular. I think it's flawed. I have ideas on VAR how they could make it better,
Yeah,
and but refereeing standards are also pretty shocking. And I always say to people, if you come out of a game and you come out and you say to yourself, he was all right, that referee, he wasn't so bad. He was pretty decent wrestling. To the other team will be going bonkers. They'll be like, he was the worst referee in the world. He gave us nothing. He gave them everything. Because you don't notice a referee when when you think he's all right. And if you don't
yeah.
notice him, it's kind of a bit for you, really. And we don't get very many times when I ever say, that referee was all right, he was okay. But, the one against QPR last night on Tuesday was okay. I didn't think he was too bad. So QPR will probably be going mental about it, saying he's the worst rev ever, because I thought he was kind of okay. I didn't really notice him too much. So it's not often we get that. It's not often we get that. We normally get shockers of referees. So welcome to the club.
It is. It's been a few times I've just thought, wow, I want VAR back.
Yeah, you want it back. Yeah. Well, there is there is a benefit to it, isn't there? When something clearly is, wrong, and it overturns it. It's good, but it's just that. I think it's just that thing. You like can't celebrate a goal, can you?
No.
I always think there should be. I tell you what, I think should be the way, and I think it should be like tennis, where you only have like 3 challenges per half.
Yeah.
And the VAR should be triggered by the managers, not by the referees. So if the manager thinks, that was definitely onside, or whatever he thinks it is that he's going mental about, he can have a challenge at that, and then the VAR comes up, and if he's wrong, he loses his challenge. Yeah, so he's only got 2 left, and if he's right, he's still got his 3 challenges. And I think that would solve this constant looking at everything that nobody notices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It should be, the manager will just be like the fans. He'll be going mental, won't he? He'll be like, he was offside. This is definitely offside, clearly offside. So then he should be able to throw his challenge in. But it shouldn't just be, we look at every little fine, minute, is a fingernail offside.
Yeah.
Nobody can
Let's
see
go
that,
back
can they?
10 minutes prior to the goal to see if there was a foul in the build-up.
I think it should just be purely down to the managers of both clubs to have, I don't know, 2 or 3 challenges per half. And I think that would stop all the nonsense with it.
Yeah, I won't mind marking refs up as well, because then you'll be able to find out whether they're actually being, consistent. It's not just a case of they're backing each other.
But it's also it was intended, wasn't it, for the clear and obvious?
Yeah,
the clear and obvious, and quite often it's not clear and obvious, is it?
No,
it's not clear and obvious. You're like, what's the VAR for? What do you mean VAR? And, and they pull it back, and it's like some ridiculous thing that nobody'd ever noticed. And I don't think that's the way it should be. And that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
No,
could be right,
I agree with you. Totally agree with you. Talk to me then about last season as a Blackpool fan. Obviously, your season last season. Give us your thoughts on how you think it ended, and obviously now, you've obviously under a new manager as well, with all that changed with him.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a strange one, leaving to become a number 2. You don't really see that.
Somebody might just say, problem is the managers teams that are losing would challenge this low. Well, they've only got 3, and of course, if they used them, they've used them, aren't they? If they're going to waste them.
Yeah.
You only got 3, haven't you? So if you start using useless challenges that don't make any sense, then you won't have any challenges left. So I don't know. I think it would maybe 2 challenges then, or 1 challenge. I don't know, whatever it is. But I think right. Going back to your question, how was Blackpool's season last year? Well, as you know, it was a kind of a bit of surprise that Blackpool got promoted. It wasn't towards the end, but it was at the start of the season before. So, we came back. We were all excited. Critch, his first season, it was lockdown, if you remember. And Blackpool had a great pre-season. We were 3-0 up against Everton and ended up drawing 3-3. And, we played really well. And then we set off really bad. And we lost away first game of the season. And then it didn't really pick up. And then all of a sudden, Blackpool got into this massive roll. And by the time we got to the playoffs, we should have got automatic promotion It was just that, probably that one game too less, and we'd have got the automatic. So when we went into the playoffs, I know they were saying like, a playoff team are like, are going to struggle and all that, but Blackpool were the best team by far. We beat Hull, we beat Peterborough, all the teams that were automatic.
Yeah.
We were just flying. And when we went to Wembley, we knew we were going up. You just know you're going up. There was no doubt in my mind that Blackpool were going to go up, even though Jane says she will never sit with me ever at Wembley ever again, because I was a nightmare. But yeah, and so we came into the Championship, as favourites to go back down, but everybody in Blackpool thought, no way. We were like, we were flying into this Championship, and it started off a little bit slow just at the start, but it soon picked up. And I'd actually predicted us for a double promotion, to be honest, because I was so confident we're playing so well. And, you don't know what you're going to expect really when you get to Championship. Anyway, everybody was telling me it's the hardest division in the world. It's even harder than the Premier League. And to be honest with you, it was a piece of cake. There was hardly a team really that was frightening or, tore us apart. Forest did in the game here at Bloomfield Road, but they only tore us apart because we just gave them stupid just stupid goals, like, a goal kick straight out to their player, 20 yards, and just pulled back, it was embarrassing. So, we're having a good season, and we were kind of coming, and just before that international break, a lot of the Blackpool fans thought we were going to make the playoffs because we were just on a roll. And I was speaking to you before, wasn't I? We had Jordan Gabriel, and we had a lad called Dujon Sterling on loan, and they were both right backs. And Critch couldn't; he would take one off, bring one on, take one off, and he couldn't play them both together. But then we had no left back, and he had to shift Dujon Sterling over to left back, who took to it like a duck to water. And we looked like, for the 3 or 4 or 5 games that they played, like unbeatable. Nobody could get around these defenders. We were just so solid at the back, and I thought we were going to make the playoffs. And then both of them got injured. Both players got injured, and then Gabriel actually came back again. He managed to get himself fit for the West Brom game, and then Andy Carroll blooming clattered into him, and he was off again. And he never played for the rest of the season, and that really didn't help us, and I think that's why it all fell apart. And it fell apart like really bad for Blackpool fans, because Preston are we're not so, there is a bit of like banter with Burnley, but Burnley aren't, you're Blackburn Rovers, you hate Blackburn Rovers. I mean, I don't mind Burnley, all that much, although I want to beat obviously your rivals.
Yeah, of course.
Me and my dad actually went to Burnley on that final day when you needed to win to stay up with Ian Britton and the team and everything. We went to support Burnley because we didn't want you to go down. So we were actually in your Bob Lord stand, is it? We're sat in there with all the Burnley fans cheering you on. It was the most stressful day of my life because you were terrible, but you hung on. And so Burnley, not too bad. But anyway, but Preston, we hate them. And with 2 games to go, we actually won away at Barnsley, and they lost. And we went above them with 2 games to go. All we had to do was win the last 2 games. We finished above them, which is what we all wanted to do. And we lost to Derby County, who were relegated. And then we lost 5-0 to Peterborough on the last game, who were also relegated. And it was just, honestly, it just took all the, it just took all the thing out of it, really. And everybody was sick because we didn't finish above Preston. And we should have done, really, because we were a better team than them last season. But we just, I don't know, it just all went wrong at the end. He didn't play Josh Bowler at the end. He just didn't play him because we all thought he'd be gone by now, because we thought they weren't playing him because something was already there and he was on his way. And it all kind of just fizzled out into much of a muchness, and that was a shame because it was looking really good. So that was our first season in the Championship. It was up and down. There was a lot of kicks in the Critchley, although I loved him. I really did love him. He would. There was a few things I didn't like about him, and that was one. He would just change the team all the time. Winning team. He wouldn't keep a winning team, and he'd take players out who played really well, and because he was always looking at playing the other team. But my dad always said, don't change a winning side, and I think it destroyed a lot of the confidence in players. And he was also very. He was a cautious manager at the end. He didn't have a lot of balls, really, for want of a better word. And we'd be hanging on. And quite often we conceded some really late goals, which were quite painful. Middlesbrough in particular was particularly painful at home, where but we weren't actually hanging on that game because we were 1-0 down and we were all over them and we were trying to get an equaliser and we'd hit the post and the goalie's pulling wonder. So, one of those games where just chance after chance goals, you think you're never going to get it. It's never going to happen. Times during the night, you're looking at the clock, you're thinking, oh my God, we're almost into injury time. Right, we're into injury time. Can we get an equaliser? Can we do it? We got a bloody equaliser in injury time. and then kicked a stupid ball out as a left wing. They dispossessed him and scored against us in the last kick of the game, where it was just all us. You know what I mean? And the pain. Oh my God, it was so bad. I can't. If you just watch that video, it was so painful. And I came out the ground actually, and I was thinking, oh, I'm so sick. What can I do that's going to really, really, really piss me off? What can I do? I thought I'll walk right through all the Middlesbrough fans and interview them and everything. And I just put myself through the hell of it. And I even put a Happy Christmas song on just because I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed. I really was. And there was a few games where we conceded late on, and they're always painful. And of course, we did it again on Saturday against Swansea. We under Michael Appleton we did it. So, but we didn't do it at QPR. So maybe we've learned.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Critchley, obviously, you said there. He left to become Gerrard's number 2. A bit of a strange move, really, because you don't see managers move to become.
Money.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be, hasn't it?
Money. Well, it's rumoured. I think he was. It is rumoured, and you only read rumours, so you don't know if this is true or not. But some people said he actually 7 times his salary to go to Liverpool. So if it was 7 times his salary, you can't kind of blame him for it. And I think. For me, it was sad because he was kind of really hero worshipped, and he would come out at the end of the game and he'd be doing all like, yeah, the crowd would be going mental, you know what I mean? He's kissing the badge, thumping the badge, and he's first girl that's come along and winked at him or something, and he's gone, hasn't he? You know what I mean? The first one that's batted her eyelids at him, he's gone, and he'd signed a 4.5-year contract, and we'd all bought into the fact that he was going to build the academy that that they're about to build, and he was going to bring all his experience to that, and we kind of saw a kind of long-term plan with him, and that and something that we need. And we've needed a long time. We need a training ground for a long time. We need the stadium finished off as well. So, but that's not Chris's, fault. But he was part of the whole thing, and a lot of fans have taken it really bad, really bad. And of course, we got Michael Appleton in, and if anybody doesn't know, the history of that, but of course, he when Ollie left, they brought him in, and he lasted 10 weeks, and then he went and he joined Blackburn Rovers, didn't he?
Weren't Appleton appointed by the Oystons at the time?
Yes, he was. Yes, by the Oystons. They got rid of Ollie, and as Carl Oyston said, if somebody comes in from driving there himself, apparently he said, which is like ridiculous because he was, one of the greatest managers we've ever had. He went to Crystal Palace and got them up. Took Kevin Phillips with him, who was our player, and he scored the penalty at Wembley to get him into the Premier League. So and then we got Appleton in, and Appleton came, and he lasted 10 weeks, and he left. Within 10 weeks he'd gone, and he'd gone to the Venkies at Blackburn Rovers, which was a bit of a surprise, and a lot of people kind of haven't forgiven him for that, but I always think he was kind of right, you know what I mean, because we all stopped going as well, didn't we, as fans? We just had enough of the Oystons. The things they were doing were terrible, and he's actually said now that Blackpool was the right place at the wrong time last time, and now he feels Blackpool's the right team at the right time. So I kind of like him. I think he's all right.
No, fair enough. Sometimes we've seen with David Moyes that at West Ham, sometimes a manager can come in for a second stint and it can pay off. So
yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like, Chris left us, but he left Blackpool in a lot better position with a side that was perfectly good in the Championship last season. Nobody really tore us apart. We went to play Fulham, and they just beaten a couple of teams by 7 goals. And on my match vlog, I'm talking to some stewards, and they're having a bit of laugh at me, and they're all predicting like 6-0, 5-0, 7-0. They're all predicting these scores, and we drew. We should have won. And we beat Fulham at Bloomfield Road, 1-0. So there was no team that really took us apart, really, at all. And so we kind of know this team are good enough for the Championship. And if he's an experienced manager and he's a more experienced manager than Critchley was, because Critchley was completely left field. He'd never, he's only a coach, isn't he? At the end of the day, an under 23's coach. So any manager who knows what he's doing should be able to take Critchley's team and maybe even do better than Critchley did. So I'm not that worried about it really, but a lot of the Blackpool fans have been worried, and there was a lot of uproar on the message boards after Saturday with Swansea, and apparently some fan had a go at Simon Sadler, which is not good really. That's another bad thing. You don't want to see that, because he's done wonders so far since he's come in. It's amazing. I can't actually believe that we're like a proper football club. It's like I'm so used to the Oystons and how bad they were that I can't believe that he's actually dealt with rust and
you almost feel like you've got your club back and your identity back a little bit,
and all those things that would annoy me, that would annoy you with your own house. You know what I mean? If you've got some rust on the outside of your house, you've got to get rid of it, haven't you? It just does your head in. You know what I mean? It's your house, and Bloomfield Road was the Oystons' house, and they didn't care. You know what I mean? There was nothing ever done. And just the whole thing that they're doing now, they've added, they're getting a lot more sponsorship. That's one thing the Oceans couldn't get in the end. They couldn't get any sponsorship because everybody would just boycott a business of anybody that sponsored the club. You know what I mean? If you sponsored them, honestly, you might as well just close your shop. So they lost all the sponsorship. So they're getting all that back now. They get some really big deals. They've linked in with Visit Blackpool. They've linked in with the Blackpool Tower. They've linked in with some massive clubs. They've got that 111 media now doing all the media stuff. We've got electronic scoreboards now, which is unbelievable. They've just done the pitch this summer. They spent, he's actually done the pitch every summer, but he's really sorted out the drainage even more this year. And they've put stitched in grass for the first 6 yards, around that sort of up to the 6 yard line. It's all stitched in now, so that should last better than it normally does. And if you have a look, there's been quite a few tweets actually showing like when we were singing "We're Blackpool SC, we play on the beach," because it was just sand everywhere. I can't believe, if you have a look at there's some pictures on, but if you have a look at them, the state of the Bloomfield Road pitch, you wouldn't believe we actually play football on it. And that's how the Oystons were, but now we've got a nice pitch. It looks great. And he's also opened like a new fan bar behind the South Stand, which is called the Heineken Room. So you can pay an extra tenner and go in there and get a bit of food and Heineken, and it's a bit of a a better experience. And then down the north end, they've just opened another bar for them up on the balcony as well. So you can pay a little bit extra in the north stand now, and the queues are really bad in the north stand. So he's listened to a few things that Jane and I have talked about, and we've got chicken biryani in for Jane as well. She's very pleased about that because she had the chicken biryani at Blackburn, I know, but she liked it. And so it gives another option for food, and just everything's just like so more professional than it ever was. And it just, Blackpool, as a Blackpool fan, it feels like we're moving in the right direction. I don't know how long
steady progress.
Yeah, it's just it's everything looks. And
you're not
then
running before you can walk, but what you're doing is you're taking it a step at a time.
Yeah, but you can see that there's a will to move it forward, whereas under the Oysters there was just a will to do everything as cheap as possible, and and just piss everybody off basically. I hated them. I really did. Even when we got in the Premier League, I still hated them. I love Valerie Bellicon. I loved him, but I hated them. And I felt like when we got in the Premier League that it was all down to Valerie Bellicon and us as fans singing our hearts out and making more noise than 10,000 people really have a right to make. We make so much noise for such a small, at the moment it's still, we only have possibly 12,000 as many Blackpool fans as you can get in, but we make a noise of 30, you know what I mean? Because we're just passionate. And it was the same when we got into the Premier League. It was that noise that we were making. And Valerie Bellicon came in and said that, I'm going to get you in the Premier League within 5 years. I can remember when he said it, I was thinking, you're having a laugh, pal. I've been watching him for 30 years. There's more chance of us getting the Premier League in 5 years as there is of me, going to the moon. And he did it in 4, I think 3 or 4
Well,
years he did it, and then they just froze him out. They completely froze him out, and he didn't get any of the money. He signed Charlie Adam. He paid for Charlie Adam. He paid for David Vaughan. He actually funded the building of the South Stand, because Carl would have never built it. It was always about, it had to be all pre-let before he'd ever even start building it. So he did all that, and then they froze him out, and that's why he took him to court in the end. And although we boycotted for 5 years, I think they'd still be here now. But the fact that he lost in court, and lost all, had to pay about 30 odd million. That's what the only thing with us is, we were causing them so much grief. There's a video with a couple of people from Blackpool, Afro Man and Raggy, and they never stopped giving him abuse, you know what I mean? And in any way they could. They used to have a road show shouting out, bloody speakers going, calling them all thieves and crooks and all the rest of it. And then they were suing them through the courts, and they were spending so much time with them, and they were representing themselves and messing them about. And you can, if you represent yourself and you're going to go bankrupt, you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter, innit? This rich guy's going to try and get 250,000. He ain't going to get a penny out of you, you know what I mean? Because you ain't got a penny. So they were never going to pay. So they give him as much hell, and all that concentrating on those two fans and the fan boycotts and the things that, were going to Clawton Hall and all the demonstrations and everything that we did. They took the eye off the ball with the Valerie Bellicon, and they'd spent so much time in court and back and forward that I think they were just exhausted by the time they got to Valerie Bellicon, and he just breezed them away, with the top lawyers in the country, and they just, they had bloody Fred Arbuckle's solicitors from Blackpool representing them, and they just, they lost it all, didn't they? And it was wonderful. The news came in that they'd been awarded like 34.5 or 35 million or whatever it was, and honestly you could have heard the roar on the Foul Coast from London. Probably we were so pleased to get rid of him. It was a wonderful day, and of course then we came back and we had and that's when I started my channel. That's when I started. I didn't know what, I just knew I wanted to do something YouTubey, because I got watching YouTube, and I thought, what can I do? What can I do? I couldn't think of something, and then I went down to a meeting. They had a meeting at the De Vere Hotel with Terry McPhillips, discussing, when the fans were going to be allowed to come back in, because the stadium at that time had only been like sat in by 1,000 people. So there was like all these seats, and they were just covered. I mean, I'm telling you, covered in pigeon poo everywhere. It was just everywhere, because nobody sat in them for like 5 years. And they would, honestly, it was caked in. They'd nested somewhere, and it was just everywhere. And they were asking for volunteers to go and clean the seats. So I thought, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go down to Bloomfield Road. I'll get a bucket and sponge, and I'll make a little video. I might pick up a bucket and sponge, and I'll clean the seats and all this. I'll give them a wash, and I'll interview all the volunteers. And I did, and I film all the pigeon poo everywhere, and I did that, and I put that on YouTube, and I think I only had about 30 subscribers or something. And when I put it on YouTube, straight away, within a day, I got a phone call from Quest HD and The One Show, all wanting to use my footage. And then I was interviewed by them on the comedy carpet and everything. And that was like my first, well, it was my second YouTube video, because my first one was going to the meeting of Terry McPhillips. I did that, and then I did the cleaning the seats, and wow, you know what I mean? Just, I was like, this is easy, isn't it? I'm on The One Show. What a great thing. And so, but I've never quite I've never managed to achieve that since, never since. But it was great. I filmed all the homecoming, day back, when we all marched back from the Tower along the promenade. And it was quite emotional, because we'd actually gone to Bloomfield Road previously and gone to the turnstiles and walked away. We'd walked away. Yeah. And Colin Murray mentioned it in a thing, because he was really behind us, and he said, this is the day where like all them fans that walked up to the turnstiles and then walked away are now going to walk up to those turnstiles, and they're going to go, back in with the dads and the kids. And I was trying to tell this on the camera, and I started cracking up. I couldn't. It's hard to say even now, you know what I mean? Because it was emotional to all those years, and you didn't think at one time that you were ever going to watch football again. And it's weird, really, because you've all been watching Premier League, and you've had all this fantastic time, and we have, not been going. And like Sebi was, the youngest one. He was 8 when we boycotted, and then he was like 13 when I came back with him.
Yeah.
And the last game I had with him was like 8 years old, and then it was like 13 years old, like 5 years. And when on the last game, he was still talking about Bloomfield Bear. You know, he was saying like, where does he eat? And, you know, how does he tie his shoelaces? And, you know, where does he live? And where's his house? And he was asking me all these questions as an 8-year-old would, you know, fascinated with Bloomfield Bear. And I come back with him at 13, and he's like, you know, he was at Burnley Academy, and he was at a few academies, and he was like football man. He was like, oh, you know, he's not doing, you know, that should be a ball across the left. And I'm thinking, bloody hell, he's not talking about Bloomfield Bear anymore, you know. But I've missed all those years.
Yeah.
You know, as a dad, all them years that you can never get back. You know, you never get them back. And now they don't even sit with me anymore. They want to be in the north stand with all the mates and causing all the noise. And we sit in the south, so he doesn't even, you know, maybe when he gets a bit older, you know, he'll come back to dad. But, you know, at the moment, I'm going with Jane. But it's kind of sad, isn't it? You know, I mean, I've missed it all. And
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Of course.
so
Obviously, you were saying there about, you know, being at games. You know, the season's now underway. The transfer window is still very much open. What have you made of your transfer business so far this year?
Well, this has been the main. This has been one of the main bugbears of everything really this summer, because first of all, the news came out from Simon Sadler that he was concentrating on building this new training ground and finishing the ground off and getting this stand done properly. And that's going to cost, I don't know, 25 million for a new training ground. And it's going to cost probably roughly the same again to build this stand on the other side, because they've got to knock back Henry Street down and stuff to do it. So it's a massive job. They've got funding, but that's only to do the surveys and put the applications in. They've got 5 million, but that's not to build it. That's just purely for application, you know, the actual process of doing whatever they've got to do with the council and all that sort of stuff. So he's committed to like £50 million investment really. And he said that obviously if I'm committed to 50 million, I can't be spending like an arm and a leg on the transfer window, which was taken as like, we've got no money, you know what I mean? What was said then becomes like absolute in concrete, with every fan in the country kicking off everywhere. We're not spending anything on players. You know, we've got no money for no transfer budget, nothing. And the Blackpool fans are kicking off everywhere. You know what I mean? And Preston fans are winding them up, and they're probably posting bogus stuff as well. So throughout the summer, it's been impossible for them to sign some. They have tried. Unfortunately, Sunderland seem to want every single player that we want, and are prepared to offer like, I don't know, 10 times more than any bloody. So we wanted Dan Ballard back. Sunderland get it. We wanted Ellis Sims back because we love him. We put the biggest, apparently the biggest bid we've ever put for any player in. Sunderland want him, so they've got him. He's banging in goals. Then we had a lad from Accrington Stanley. I can't think of his name now. What's his name? He was a top scorer for Accrington Stanley. And anyway,
Colby Bishop.
He was going to Portsmouth, yeah. Then the news came over that Blackpool have trumped him. You know, they beat him to his signature, and then I don't know. He came to Blackpool, and there was something wrong with the medical, and he's ended up blooming signing for Portsmouth. That didn't go down well. Then we've been after this lad from Oxford, this Brannigan from Oxford, this midfielder that is like what we've needed. Critch wanted him. He wanted him last summer. He wanted him in the January transfer. We put a late bid in for him, but we didn't meet. I know we put £1 million in. It was 1.2 million to get his release clause out. So we didn't get him in January for 200,000. They could have had him, but they didn't. And so we went back in for him. We paid the release clause, and he was all over the news. Brannigan's coming to Blackpool, and he came down, and he just went straight back to Oxford, signed a brand new contract with Oxford, get rid of all that release clause. And he's on the thing saying, I've signed a massive deal. I'm staying at Oxford. So everybody was like, gutted over that one, and it's just everything we've tried to do we've failed in, and everybody's been saying it's Appleton's fault because he can't, you know, nobody wants to play for Appleton. You can imagine how it's gone, can't you? And Simon Sadler's not prepared to spend the money because all his money's on, so it's been a bit poor really. We've signed one player so far, which has been Dom Thompson, who is a left back, and we got him from
did you get him from Brentford? Were he released?
From Brentford, yeah, we got him. We paid for him, yeah. and he's decent. He's good. I quite like him, if I'm being honest. I like him. And then we've come up with some decent loans, or what looks like some decent loans. We've got Luis Fiorini, got him from City, who was looking really good. And we got Charlie Patino, who in the song has told everybody fucking hates P&E. So you know a song. And he is going to be something really special. He is going to be special. I know a few Blackpool fans have said, you know, when Preston got Beckham sort of thing, nobody heard of him. And they reckon this Charlie Patino is going to go on. But, you know, you saw what happened to him on Tuesday night, QPR. In fact, both of those players, who were both playing fantastic against QPR, running the show, we were looking like, I don't know, we were looking so superb, and they both got injured. Fiorini has got a hamstring and he's gone off with an ankle. So God damn it. So you're not going to see them on Saturday because they're both injured. So it's the curse of the injuries again. We got another lad on loan as well called, I think you say Corbino. I think it is Corbino or Corbino. And he looks pretty decent as well. He came out at the end against QPR. I think they're looking at him as a bit of a replacement for maybe if Bowler goes. So I think for Blackpool, the big worry is if Bowler's going to go before the end of the transfer window. And if he goes to Blackburn Rovers, I'll be so disappointed, because I don't think you should ever sell your best players to teams that are in your own division. You know what I mean? Not your best players. You can give them your shit.
Yeah.
If they want to buy somebody you're not too keen on, you can have him.
Yeah, someone that's not getting much game time.
Yeah, exactly. You can have him, but your best player in your team, you know what I mean, to go to Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah,
you know, just send him to the Premier League for God's sake, or don't send him at all. So that's where we are with that. So we signed 1 and 3 loans so far, but 2 of them are injured. So it's kind of back to square one.
The window's still very much open, though, isn't it?
Still open,
there's still scope for some people to come in.
They do business late on, and we sometimes even find players coming after the transfer window because we pick up freebies that we've been looking at for some reason. You know, we have that ability to get freebies. So we do that as well. So yeah, it's not all over yet. I'm pretty confident. I was a bit down on Saturday after Swansea because, you know, we missed a penalty. I know the Swansea fans will say it was never a penalty, but, you know, we should have had 3 penalties, to be fair. There's another couple of even better shouts than the first one. We didn't get them, but even though it wasn't a penalty, we didn't score it. It saved it. And that was the turning point. And really, Blackpool were turning the screw on Swansea, although Swansea were in it. You know what I mean? If you'd have said if it was a draw, you know, I'd have been all right. But for them to score really late on from our own corner when we're going for it and just break away and score was really hard to take again. And as I was saying to you before, if we'd have won that game, we'd have been top of the league, and you wouldn't have had to see your nearest and dearest on the top of the league at the moment. But I'm sure you're all chuckling because they lost 3-0 to Reading, which is definitely quite hard to believe, isn't it?
Definitely chuckling.
I hate Blackburn Rovers. I tell you.
The only thing they ever bring up is about 95. That's it. It's 95 this, 95 that. Listen, there has been many teams that have spent money and won a division, right? Yeah. Or they've been built, not bought. But Jack Walker just came in with a shit ton of money and bought you the league.
But he did fantastic. He was a proper fan, and he did wonders for Blackburn Rovers. You know, he was. You know, every credit to him. But yeah, he did buy the league, but so does everybody really at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, City buy they all buy the league, don't they? And he was a little club and they did really, really well, but I just don't like him. In fact, you know, Preston is my number 1 and Blackburn Rovers is my number 2, you know, in that order. Jane kind of likes Blackburn Rovers. You know, she likes it there. It's a nice ground. It is, you know, we went to Blackburn Rovers and there was no trouble. You know, we went to the fan zone thing and they were nice. You know, they weren't horrible. You know, they weren't horrible to us. And
they turn into gargoyles and gremlins when it comes to us. We have to have the.
Well, of course.
Well, we're not allowed to see them to the point where they literally shut us off like it's blind date or something.
Yeah.
They
did the same.
They have like the giant metal like barriers up, stopping you from even seeing each other. It's like a war zone, honestly, and you can't make your own. You can't make your own way to the ground. You've got to get on a coach from the turf all the way to Ewood Park or vice versa for thing. It's absolute madness, but it's madness I'm looking forward to again this season.
Burnley's not been, he's not too bad. It used to be bad. I remember, when it was the long side and
Yeah,
he'd walk out from the back of the long side and walk along and there was like, I don't know, all fencing and there'd be Burnley fans on. It was quite terrifying coming out. And there was a pub, I remember. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was a bit terrifying on the way to the ground. But, then over the years, we used to go in the cricket thing and have a
yeah,
drink in
yeah.
there and it was always all right. You know what I mean? It was always okay.
So it's nice in
Um,
there.
yeah, but like Preston, is for us is horrible, and last year it was really horrible. The police kept us in like for 40 minutes after, and it was a bit terrifying. Actually, it was quite terrifying. They made a mistake and they let fans out on the side that was nearest the fans, and they walked straight out into the fans, and they had to quickly send all the horses over, and the horses went charging like through everybody on our side. Really, horses full gallop. It's quite
Wow.
terrifying. And then we had to walk through a little gap of like coaches to go from where we were to the next bit. And you didn't know, you didn't know what was like on the other side of that coach because you couldn't see anything. You didn't know what you were actually walking to, and nobody knew if you were supposed to go through there or not. And it was just, it was a little bit terrifying. And there was a drone going around, and they kept us in. But by the time we got out, it had all gone. And it was a long time, but there was no trouble when we come out. So it was all right, but it's not a pleasant experience for us, Preston, and it was not so good here as well. There was a lot of trouble here, so. But I don't think I don't know tomorrow what it be on Saturday what it'll be like. We haven't played you for a long time, have we? I mean, there is a
No,
rivalry there. You know what I mean? There is a rivalry.
yeah, it's almost like a Liverpool Everton. It's a bit of a friendly rivalry, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
not.
too heavy.
It's not crucial. I mean, there's always some nutters in there somewhere, but no, I'm looking forward to it. I've always had more of a, and I've kind of always felt my hatred for Blackburn is because I kind of have I'm half, not bothered about, Burnley are okay. I don't want to lose to you, obviously. I definitely don't want to lose to you now. It's like I know bloody Turf Moor house now, so it makes it even worse, doesn't it? Because I've got to face the music. But no, it's gonna be a good one. I've seen you, a bit of you, and you look decent. You've not had the results haven't quite gone your way, but I think,
Yeah,
like you say, the referee was a bit of a nightmare, was it, the other night, where you should have really won against Hull, was it?
yeah. We should have got some of the points against them, to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's never easy going to Burnley. It's honestly, I've been to Burnley loads of times and lost. Very rarely we win at Burnley. It's always a tough one. I always get that bloody Tomahawk song. Do you still sing that Tomahawk or whatever it is?
No, we've not.
Have you dropped that now?
Yeah, we don't have any goal music anymore.
Oh, do you know? Oh, God, I used to hate that. I could feel it coming, Da-na-na-na, da-na. Like, God's sake.
Yeah, we went from that to, I think from there we dropped that. We then used Umbar Bar from Malcolm McLaren's Double Dutch song.
Oh, okay.
So we had that for a while, and then
Double Dutch song.
yeah. So it's something like Umbar Bar,
Yeah.
Umbar Bar. So we had that when we scored, and I was just thinking this is a bit random.
Yeah.
Sounds like something from Easter Island or something. But
Right. So you've ditched them all now. We
yeah.
don't have a goal celebration song anymore either, because it was the Oystons, obviously, with Glad All Over, and nobody wanted to really, although I used to quite like Glad All Over, but yeah, we haven't got one now. So we do our own thing. We do Paris, what is it? Thingy Paris. What's a song by
Oh, yeah.
So
I know
all
what you
the
mean.
fans sing that themselves, and we've done that one for a while. Yeah, so there we are.
No, it sounds,
Everybody's now left the stream, and if
no.
I start singing, that'll be the end of it.
No, have the heck. Obviously, on to then Saturday's game, 3:00 kick-off at the Turf.
Yeah.
Obviously, you said you're coming here for it.
Yeah, we are.
Do
We're
you think it's the best?
We're actually doing a football tourist guide, Dan. Doing a football tourist
Yeah.
guide of Burnley.
Well, if I'm available and if you drop me a message, let me know where you are. I'll pop to
we're
you.
Gonna be doing we're going to be doing the touristy
If it's
thing.
green, my face isn't green, and I'm just like.
Jay's already sorted out some places for us to go to Burnley, so we'll be doing a few little, the touristy thing. So yeah, we enjoy
you need
that
to get
as well.
yourself a Benny or not. That's what you need.
A what?
Yeah, a Benny a Benedictine and hot water.
Oh, right, okay. Benedictine hot water.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it was the Miners Club round the corner from the stadium.
Yeah.
It's world renowned and known for selling the most bottles of Benedictine.
Oh, right.
And it was brought back from somebody in the war.
Right. So
And the Benedictine used to like warm all the soldiers up. It'd give you like a warm glow.
right, yeah.
So they sell it at half time on the turf as well, so you can get Benny and Ox.
Yeah.
And they now have also tried to make it with the modern era and the kids all having these shots and stuff. So they now do the Benny bomb instead of a Jaeger bomb. and
All right.
but
Wow.
um,
I thought it was
but
quite
yeah,
dangerous, Benedictine. Is it
it
not
is.
dangerous?
It's like cough syrup, but
Hmm.
but I don't know. It's nice. I like it in small doses.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, I think that's the way to have it, isn't it? I don't think you should have a lot of it.
yeah. My nana, even when I were under 18, she'd be like, "If you got a cold, get a glass of Benedictine and some hot water." So I'll have
Oh,
flipping it.
oh, well, there
But
we
then yet
go.
again, she was always that type who cut aloe vera out of the break it off from an aloe vera plant in the window and say, "Right, put that on that scratch there. That'll heal it better." So,
Sounds like a witch doctor then, your grandmother.
she was just a witch. No doctor
Yeah,
about
well,
her. She was
well,
just
they
a
used
witch.
to have all, my mum always used to do is boil lemonade for tummy troubles. It was boiled lemonade. I used to hate it, and I used to hate boiled lemonade, and it was brandy as well, which I could never. So I never liked the taste of whiskey because it kind of reminds me of brandy and hot. No, as a kid, I hated it. Yeah, there's tummy
Burnley
troubles.
says big window for me on Saturday at 11, and then there were some Dutch lads on the whole match on Tuesday, and they were drinking it and said it was nice.
Right.
It is.
Okay.
It is. It does. Put it one way, if you're feeling a bit cold and you need something to warm you up, I'd definitely have one. I could do with
Right.
having one now if it would make my stomach feel any better, but don't think it would. How do you see the game going then? Obviously, as you said, two of your loan players are now cropped and ruled out. But how do you see it going? Because you've not started the season badly.
No. Well, we've had one good away and one bad away. Stoke, if we play like we played at Stoke, you'll beat us because he just set it all up wrong at Stoke. He had all the young kids in, which I have a fear we're going to have them in again. We're going to have Sonny Carey back in. We just looked over, it was men against boys really at Stoke, and hopefully I think Appleton's learned straight away that that's not the way to go. If we play like we did first half against QPR, but we can't because the two players that play that way are injured, so I don't know. But if we play with that sort of style, we can give you a game. We'll give you a game. We're all fully aware you've just come down from the Premier League. You've had years and years of experience in there, and on paper, really, I don't know what your squad's worth. I always used to say to people that the one good thing about Burnley is they're as tight as a bloody drum. There, they'll never spend anything on it. They'll never, you'll never get Burnley signing £100 million player. It's just ain't going to happen. Not. You know what I mean? Probably even struggle to spend like 2 million or whatever. It's just the way that you are there, aren't you?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure your squad's worth head and shoulders more than what ours is worth. So on paper, Blackpool are perennially the favourites to go down, and you're probably favourites for going straight back to the Premier League. So we're expecting it to be really, really hard. If honestly, I'd take a draw right now. You know what I mean? I really would. But I'm used to coming to Burnley and I'm used to losing. If we lose, I always like to deserve to lose. You know what I mean? If you're just hammered, you think, well, fair enough. What I hate losing is losing when you don't deserve to lose. You know what I mean? When you give it everything and you've thrown the kitchen sink at you maybe, and that kind of game, and then you just go and kill us off with a goal or something, and it was all us. And I hate that kind of defeat. So all I hope is that if you beat us, fairly and squarely, and I can kind of just take it on the chin then and just move on. You know what I mean? But I hate those things that like linger for. You keep going over them in your mind and over in your mind. Oh God, if that had just gone in or that had just gone in, that kind of thing. A game of regrets and all that. So, as I say, I'd take a draw. I'd love a win. You know what I mean? I'd love a win. It would be good just to shut everybody up at Blackpool. Actually, who keeps moaning about Appleton. There's quite a few fans out there that keep moaning about. I had a guy actually that was blooming messaging me on Facebook all the time, and it was just like War and Peace, everything about how bad Simon Sadler is and how he's taking all the money out of the club. And I just didn't want to read it. It was just so annoying, and I said to him a few times, just I don't want to hear this. You're talking to me. I'm not interested, and he kept coming back with it. I just had to block him in the end because I thought, I've told you about 5 times now. I'm not talking about this. You're talking about something. Let's talk about something positive because you have to kind of try in your head to remain a bit positive. Because, you can't be all doom and gloom on your channel, upsetting everybody, can you?
No.
You've got to kind of keep people's spirits up as long as you can. In the end, we'll end up crying and all the rest of it, if it goes that way. But at the moment, it's early doors, only a couple of games in, you don't know how it's going to go, do you? Nobody knows. So
No.
I can't see any point at the start of a season being negative, mate. I never have. I always believe. I think that's what the Oysters took away from us. They stole that. You couldn't believe anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Nothing mattered. You gone to the Premier League, you won 96 million quid, and you didn't have a penny to show for it. Nothing happened, and you just thought, well, we got we've had the most amazing dream, the most amazing journey, and so it doesn't matter whatever we do, whether we draw United in the cup or whatever, we're never going to see any of it because you're just going to steal it all the time, and that's to me what they stole. When the people calling them thieves,
Yeah,
it wasn't the money they stole the dream, they stole the hope. The thing that kind of makes you a football fan, and all the things you dream about, don't you? You think, oh, if we draw United in the cup and it's at Old Trafford and we get like a million off the gate receipts, that'll get us, when you're down the lower leagues, you're thinking, what can that do to the club? What can that do? And you couldn't, there's no point in getting promoted, no point in going in the Premier League, no point in any of it. And now we've got that again, and I've got that hope and I've got that dream. And, starting off my season like I did as a kid, thinking I was going to get promoted, believing I'm going to get promoted. And as that gets kicked out of me throughout the season, I'm used to that. But I've got to start off with hope, and I can't start off from a bad place like a lot of Blackpool fans have. And I hope if any Blackpool fans are watching this, that you start to see that maybe Appleton can make this team play well. And I just hope we don't embarrass ourselves on Saturday. And, I hope we do ourselves justice. And, you come out saying, yeah, you're a decent side and sorry we beat you kind of thing or whatever, but I think it'd be okay. I don't want you saying what a bunch of bloody muppets you lot going, worst team we've seen at Turf Moor for like 15 years. You're going down. I don't want that sort of thing happening, to be honest. I just want you to, appreciate that we're half decent at this level, despite the fact, we're built on a shoestring sort of thing.
No, that's fair. A fair point. Speaking of shoestring, say that your phone was to be ringing now. Michael Appleton rang you and thought, shit, injury numbers are down. Lee, I want you to pick the team lineup for the Burnley game. Who'd be in your starting 11?
Oh, right, he'd be my starting 11. Well, at the moment, you'd have to go with Grimmy in goal. You would.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Gabriel as right back. He's back now. He came on against QPR, and he is my favourite player. Jordan Gabriel is my favourite player. I'll say it now. He is.
So I'm guessing you're glad that the interest from us died down quite a bit.
Yeah, in fact, well, I did threaten him on Twitter because he follows it. He actually watches my channel. It's unbelievable. In fact, I've met him a few times now because he was in the stands and stuff, and I've interviewed him and everything. And honestly, it's weird because he has like he's starstruck when he sees me, which is like bizarre, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like Jordan Gabriel, and he's like, oh my God, it's LeeCharlesTV. And when we're at Peterborough, he hadn't seen Jane, and she come up behind him, oh my God, it's Jane. He was like that, because he watches all the time. So, I said to him, if you go to bloody Burnley, you can like stuff you, if you go there, I'll cry, basically you'll ruin everything for me. So I was hoping he didn't go, but he is a great right back, but he's been injured a bit. So hopefully he won't, he'll be back now. He's right. Marvin Epstetter, obviously, and Reece Williams. We've got this Reece Williams from Liverpool, and he looks class. He does look class. Yeah. He's another young lad, but he does look really good. Dom Thompson, the new lad that we've got on the left, I quite like him as well. He's decent. He's really good. I like Kenny Dougal. a lot. He just does a lot of the hard work. picking up people and stuff. So I like him. We did have Fiorini and Charlie Patino, so we're going to have Sonny Carey. I'm not quite sure who else is going to be in midfield, to be honest. It might have to be Matty Virtue, who's not been doing great sort of stuff. I don't know whether he'll go. I don't know how he's going to play, to be honest. I don't know. I kind of like a 4-4-2 sometimes, to be honest. He's been playing Lavery on the left, so maybe he may have those four across with Lavery on the left and Sonny Carey and Dougal and Matty Virtue, maybe. Those might be our midfield. And then you've just got to have Yates up front. Oh, and of course, Bowler. Yates and Bowler up front, probably. But he might play Bowler. I don't know, really. To be honest, Dan, I've no bloody idea what I would choose, really. It's just kind of cocked everything up.
Basically, if you was to put you and Michael Appleton in a room, between the pair of you, you'd be like, shit.
He'd know more than me, Dan, to be honest. He'd know more than me. In Appleton, I trust him more than I trust me. I'm sure he'll shuffle them around. I think that's what he'll play. I think he'll play Jerry Yates up front. I don't know if Medin's fit. Again, if Medin were fit, he could bring him back because he's a bit, he's a big lad and he does, he's good at the shithousery, as we call it, which I think we learned very early on last season in the Championship that you've got to be you've got to be a bit savvy with it all because we played Cardiff and we played Coventry and it was like men against boys and they really did cheat on us and do all the things and we were just too naive and too honest and we got punished and since then we've learned and I think the QPR fans were saying that Blackpool were a bit good at the dark art, should we say, and we were all good, that's how you've got to be. You can't be you've got to be that way. I'm afraid if you can't beat them, join them. And if people are saying, I think some Preston fan tweeted, some knobber tweeted that, Blackpool, they're a bit dirty and all that. I couldn't watch that every week. I thought, well, good, thanks. I like that. I do like that. I'm glad you don't like it because we do, because we weren't like that and we were stupidly getting beat. So yeah.
Fair shout.
You see a bit of that
put together
Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I've put a team together for this weekend. So I have gone for Muric in goal. Connor Roberts starts at right back with Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Charlie Taylor at the back with Mattson on the left. Three in midfield of Josh Cullen, Josh Brownhill and Samuel Bastian, and a front three of Manuel Benson, Jay Rodriguez and Nathan Teller, the man on loan. I'm hoping that he will play pretty well.
That was very nice. I like that graphic as well. I'll tell you, professional, I tell you.
You know what? I do it all on my phone. The laptop I have open is slow as anything, but I have it open so I've got the comments written there and I can deal with the videos and stuff via my phone. So
how do you bring the phone in as a
Yeah, so my phone's used for the camera and everything else.
But there's a second camera then. How did you get that into?
No, I just used that as the videos. I've uploaded it, created it as a video.
Oh, I see. It's a video. You've uploaded the video into Streamline. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah. Before we wrap it up, then I've got one last game I want to play with you, and it's a little game called This or That.
This or that.
So I play this game with everybody, and there's always one pivotal question at the end. And it can make or break friendships. It can split opinions. It could end relationships. It's a tough one. But basically, this or that is just, I'm going to give you two options, and you've just got to give me which one you prefer out of the two.
I've just got to answer True Red there, saying, of course, Jordan is my favourite player because he used to play for Forest. You didn't want him. End of. That's it. You weren't interested in Jordan Gabriel, so your loss. I wasn't a big fan of him at Forest, but I'm a big fan of him now, and I'm glad we got him off you, and I'm glad you didn't want him. So there we go. Right. Okay, let's play the game.
Right. So first off, I'll set you nice and easy. Netflix or YouTube?
Oh, God, that's a hard one, isn't it? Because I kind of watch quite a lot of YouTubers. We all do, don't we, as YouTubers?
Yeah.
But I don't think I could live without my Netflix now. Since lockdown, honestly, I never used to watch TV ever, but honestly, Netflix, I've binged so much stuff. No, honestly, Netflix. God, we're watching Queen of the South at the moment. I don't know if you've watched that, but oh my God, that's one of the best things I've ever watched. Honestly, watch it. I promise you. Queen of the South. Ozark was good. I don't know if you watched Ozark.
No, I've not watched that either.
You know what's Ozark? Oh my
No.
God, what are you doing? Have you watched Breaking Bad?
No.
Oh, geez,
I've not watched Breaking Bad. To be fair, I've got 3 young kids in the house, so the TV is constantly, if one wants to watch their stuff, then the other wants to watch their stuff, and it's just literally, by the time it comes to, I'm just like, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah, but honestly, well, all of them Breaking Bad. They're all to do with drug cartels and stuff.
Yeah.
My God, Ozark is incredible. It's just incredible. But Queen of the South, my God, I can't. You just got to watch it. It's just unbelievable.
I'll have to have a look at that then.
Yeah,
I'll have to have a look at. So I'm guessing you're going to go for Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. Go on, I'll go for Netflix.
Work hard or play hard?
Ooh. Life's balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would normally say if you work hard, you got to play hard.
No, that's a fair shout. That is a fair shout.
I've always worked hard, but at the moment I'm a bit more into playing hard.
You don't get to play hard without working hard, really, do you?
I've become a scrub YouTuber, a videographer. I've always been like a DJ, and so I've always been into music, and I've always been into movies, and I love making videos. I love editing and all. I love the process of it, and so my work is now, although I still work hard at it, it's more play than it was before. So I'm still very much a work hard sort of person, but I work hard at more things that I enjoy doing. So it's not quite so worky. If you sent me down a pit, there'd be no chance. If I had to go and mine coal for a living, that wouldn't happen with me. I've always liked creative stuff.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So I do work hard, but I only work hard at things that I enjoy.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Gary Taylor Fletcher or Brett Ormerod?
Brett Ormerod.
That was straight up. DJ Campbell or Luke Varney?
Ooh. Oh my God. They were both great. DJ Campbell.
Good choice. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
And the big question, does pineapple belong on a pizza?
Yes.
Oh, Lee.
Oh. I like pineapple on a pizza. I don't mind it.
Oh, dear.
I can live with it. I can live with pineapple on a pizza.
To be fair, it is all about personal preference, but it is definitely one of those questions that splits people straight down the middle. But no, thank you very much for obviously giving up your time today. I do appreciate it. Again, let people know where they can find you and your stuff.
Yeah, you can find it on. Don't subscribe if you don't like pineapple on your pizza. Everyone's going to leave me now, aren't they? You can find me LeeCharlesTV, a Blackpool fan channel on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, we love that, don't we? We need it. And subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, to Dan as well. And we're on socials. We're on at LeeCharlesTV on Twitter, and we're at LeeCharlesTV 2. Now on Instagram, because we've lost our LeeCharlesTV due to somebody hacking us.
There's always one inconsiderate arsehole out there, isn't there?
Why? And I tell you what, I hardly ever go on. It's not like I can never quite get my head around Instagram. I don't know if you do, but it's so complicated, isn't it? The reels and the thing. Sure, I don't know. I just don't get it. So I wasn't even a prolific poster on Instagram, but I did have a lot of people following me, and it was just miffed me a bit, but. Yeah. Well, I've kept you here for a long time, haven't I? This is the longest.
It's all right. It's all right. I've enjoyed having you on. And getting an insight into Blackpool. So thank you again, obviously, for lending us your time tonight. More importantly, obviously, people, please do check out LeeCharlesTV. The link to the YouTube channel is in the description, so please do go show your support. There was going to be a predictions video for the championship. Funnily enough, in 20 minutes, but I'm going to cancel it because my stomach is something else, and I'm just thinking, get through this.
You've got through it. I've kept you an hour, and I didn't. Yeah,
no,
forget
it's all right. It's all right. It's just I'm starting to feel a bit nauseous as well, so I'm probably best I don't
okay
start that.
And we'll try and meet up, before the game.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate everyone who's been in the chat as well. Do appreciate all of you. Again, Lee, thank you for coming on. But yeah, Saturday. Oh, I'll tell you one thing I didn't ask. Score prediction.
Ooh, score prediction.
It's like the main thing on a match preview, and I never asked it.
You know what? I'm gonna go for a 1-0 Blackpool win. I've got to, Hunter. You know, just that's it. You've got to believe in life. I don't think you've just got to believe. You've just got to believe and pray and hope we can beat you. But I'm not expecting it. So, but I go for 1-0 to Blackpool.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going to go probably. We've drawn our last 2 games.
Say what you think, sir. I won't be offended. I know you're gonna.
It's one of those where it's got a scrappy fixture written all over it. You know what? I'm going to go for the 3rd home game, one apiece.
Oh.
I just think because we have got. Oh, my stomach. Because we have got a squad that is brand new, a completely brand new team. We're still trying to learn our positions. Okay. Each player is sometimes getting in the way of each other because we're not learning each other's game often enough.
Right.
So,
well, fingers crossed.
So yeah, I'm going to say a share of the spoils. However, thank you very much, Lee. Again, do appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you with another video real soon. Hopefully, shift this bit of stomach crap that's going on. Yeah, obviously, let's hope for a positive result for whoever's team you support this weekend. So thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, take care, and more importantly, up the clarets.